Hey everybody, good morning. Welcome to the morning devotion time with Bo O. Bo Willette's my name. You could always check out the archives at my YouTube channel at Bo Willette. Just type in my name. It's a very French-Canadian name, a lot of vowels in there, Ouellettete in YouTube, and you can come to my personal YouTube page. I have some guitar lessons on there and different things like that. I've been playing guitar for a long time. So there's that, and then there's just all my Bible devotions, and I just go through the Bible. It's so fun because, it makes it easy, right? You just open up the Bible and you just go to the next page. And, being a Southern California kid growing up, I don't know if it was like the school systems or what, but I just wasn't very bright. So, might be just my pecking order in my family. I don't know. You know how it is. The youngest is always a little on the iffy side, right? And just going through the Bible, opening up, the book to the next page, that seemed to be pretty easy and kind of like, hey, that's what we do, So that's how I do my devotions, and I do always air them, and you can join in as well. A lot of people, even in the church, just don't go through the Bible. They might try to read through the Bible. That might happen. But a lot of times people just don't get through it. They just don't finish it up. And so hopefully maybe you can jump on with me, and that way you actually get through it. But you just got to take it one day at a time, and just keep plugging away. So what's up, Paula? It was really good seeing you at church the other day. That was awesome. So we're in chapter 14 of the book of Isaiah, the prophet. We see that a lot of what goes on back then in Isaiah's day, 700 years before Christ was on the scene, is Jesus, that is. It's very much like that today. There's turmoil in nations. There is allegiances that are formed. There is news networks that go out and if you will, give out whether it's called news or propaganda. It goes out. People listen to it, and by the droves. And it moves them. It moves them to think certain ways, to act certain ways, to believe certain things. And we see that Isaiah is a spokesperson for God, and lets people, corrects people, and says, no, that's not true, and that's not really the message, and this is not this, and this is not. And there's like almost a giant rebuke to the way the system is. We see that in the big picture of the Bible, God is really far away. God is so distant now, not only just from all people on the planet, but even from Israel. And yet, there's all these incredible promises that are given to Israel through the prophet Isaiah on this Messiah child that would be born. And there's all these specifics that are given about this child. And so it just keeps kind of, there's a hope that continues to burn within Israel, just at large, and even in the world. Well, we really get an idea that in Isaiah that Yahweh is not just Yahweh for Israel, but Yahweh for the world. And so, yeah, very interesting and very cool. I mean, just to me, it just, wow, makes a lot of sense. So chapter 14 is a taunt for Babylon's king. So Babylon, big nation, right? You think of Iraq. That's a pretty big place. And then you got the king of Babylon. Of course, Iraq isn't just Babylon. Babylon consisted of much more than just Iraq, but certainly Iraq proper. And even in our day, I remember when Saddam Hussein was interested in rebuilding, the area of Babylon. And so, again, the Bible is not some book of places that are non-existent. where you read it and you go, where is that place? These are real places, real people. And so it says, but the Lord will have mercy on the descendants of Jacob. Okay, so out of all this judgment that is going to happen to Judah and to Jerusalem, we saw from chapter 13, there's these, it starts now on these judgments on the nations around her, around Jerusalem. So God will have mercy on the descendants of Jacob. Aren't you glad for God's mercy today? I mean, this is a devotion. Gosh, just thinking about God's mercy. Do I need mercy? Absolutely. This is the theme of the Old Testament, by the way. You need mercy, right? And the thing is that's a tough message. We as humans just don't want to think that we need mercy, because mercy carries the idea that you deserve punishment, but you don't get it. So you have to admit that you deserve some kind of punishment when you say, I need mercy. So right when you say, I need mercy, you are admitting something, right? You're admitting failure. And so sometimes we don't want to admit failure, therefore we omit mercy. Does that make sense? If you don't admit failure, then you can't have, there's no mercy that, even in a relationship, even in my relationships today, if I don't come at relationships with my need for mercy, right? And their need for mercy, then I'm going to become prideful. There's no doubt I'll get prideful and think I had it together or I have it together. That kind of idea. Or they will, the person I'm talking to. If I don't have this blessed are the merciful, this idea of those that can extend mercy to others because they know they need mercy. So I love that. The Lord will have mercy on Jacob. He will choose Israel as his special people once again. Wow, that's cool. It's a reiteration of Exodus kind of 19 and 20. It says he will bring them back to settle once again in their own land. So this is he's going to bring them back into that land at some point. And people from many different nations will come and join there, and they will unite the people of Israel. The nations of the world will help the Lord's people to return. Interesting. The nations of the world will help the people to return. Man, that sounds like something in our day and age, like World War II. Right? The nations of the world will help the Jewish people return to their land? That's interesting. And those who come to live in their land will serve them. Interesting. Those who come into Israel will be, in a sense, servants of Israel. They will be part of Israel. And it'll say those who can. So it's the idea is that they won't be oppressing them, right? Those who captured Israel will themselves be captured, and Israel will rule over its enemies. So it'll be a place where those who captured Israel and went after Israel is going to be actually captured themselves. So that's going to be interesting too. So we see some interesting, again, prophetic words from Isaiah. Of course, what do they bring? What are they supposed to bring to Israel or to Judah, to Jacob? The descendants, the 12 tribes, right? I will have mercy on the descendants of Jacob. Jacob had, 12 tribes of Israel. So, what's the idea here? Hope, right? That there's some hope there, man. It's going to be, God, there's a good future. Boy, do we need hope. Not only do we need mercy, but we need a lot of hope, right? So much so. God, what's life without hope? Where's my hope today? What am I really hoping in today? And what are you putting your hope in today? What do you got as far as hope goes? Is it just in your ability to move? Well, what if your ability to move stops? Is it your toys? Well, what if those toys cease to be there? What is our hope really in? Can it really sustain the test of time? It says, in that wonderful day when the Lord gives his people rest from sorrow and fear. Ooh, boy, do I need rest from what? Sorrow and fear. Man, that's so true. So that fear can grip, that sorrow can grip, right? That depression can grip. And it says the Lord will give rest from those things. You know, how does he do that? Well, first through just forgiveness, right? Just knowing that you're forgiven. Just knowing that you're made right with God. That can be a real rest, you know, and get your eyes too off of kind of you per se, where everything's so focused on you, and start focusing upright again. Start looking up, you know. And there can be some help in that too. Rest from sorrow and fear is something that a lot of us in this world are trying to do, right? Trying to find rest from those things. And this is why Jesus' words are so cool, right? Come to me, all who are heavy burdened, and I will give you what? Rest. Man, that's awesome. He says, rest from that slavery, the chains that will taunt, and you will taunt the king of Babylon. Okay, so, you know, one day God's going to do something to make us victorious over the enemies, over our enemy. What's our greatest enemy? Sin, right? So we're bound by this thing. We can't stop. It's unbelievable, right? If anything, the 10 Commandments show us is that we just can't seem to do it. And if you think you got the 10 Commandments down, then just go to the Sermon on the Mount and read about what Jesus says, and then see if you got that down. Right? And if you think you got that down too, man, then you're right there with the rich young ruler. You lack nothing, you know. And what did he do? He went away sorrowful, because he just could not lay it down. He couldn't be perfect. He realized that he couldn't be perfect. And instead of just humbling himself with Jesus, the rich young ruler walked away sorrowful. He just didn't want to give up his stuff. So one day it's like God, it says, will give us rest from sorrow and fear, from slavery and chains. The mighty man has been destroyed. Yes, your insolence is ended. This is a taunt to the king of Babylon. It's like, I'm going to get, you know, this is what's going to happen to you, bro. You know, for the Lord has crushed your wicked power and broken your evil rule. You struck the people with endless blows of rage and held the nations in your angry grip with unrelenting tyranny. But finally the earth is at rest and quiet. Now it can sing again. Even the trees of the forest, the cypress trees of the cedars in Lebanon, sing out to this joyous song. Since you have been cut down, no one will come now to cut us down. In the place of the dead, there is an excitement over your arrival. The spirits of the world leaders and mighty kings, long dead, stand up to see you. With one voice, they all cry out, now you are as weak as we are. Your might and power were buried with you. The sound of your harp in your place has ceased. Now maggots are your sheet and worms are your blanket. Ooh. Okay. So a nice taunt getting going, right? Definitely sounds like it's going right to the king. Hey, you think you're all bad? Finally, the earth is going to rejoice. You know, sometimes I think, man, hey, how can I even help the earth better? You know, that's a cool idea. I mean, it's so neat in this taunt to the king of Babylon that it says, hey, one day, you know, the earth, the trees, everything's going to be happy again. You know, it's like they have, you know, even though we know they don't have like this consciousness like human beings, the taunt has this idea that the earth is burdened by such tyranny, that the land is burdened by it. You know, what is our land burdened by? You know, it's like there's not everything in the Greenpeacers, in the tree huggers is bad, right? Sometimes we make fun of that, but not everything in their ideas are wrong. They got kind of an interesting idea there that can be right on, right? And that is what we've done as human beings maybe to the land is maybe not right. Maybe we haven't done very well with taking care of the earth. And you think about it and you go, man, yeah, that makes some sense. I mean, look around, right? It's like, what do humans do? We tend to what? Consume. So we get a little bit of land, we consume it, and we want more, and we want more, and we want more. And we tend to dirty things, make things worse. And then we manufacture things and kind of mass produce stuff. It's kind of weird how everything works, but the taunt really shows that, man, hey, the earth one day is going to be stoked. And this is a theme that goes on even with the Messiah. The Messiah will even restore the earth. Even at the end of the book of the Bible, there's a new heavens and there's a new what? Earth. Isn't that cool? So even I grew up SoCal, secular dude. And, into the earth. And everybody's hating on the earth. There's some biblical truth to that. Right? Not all the philosophy, but certainly there's a biblical idea there. And that is, we haven't done very well, right, with the planet. And this is the idea that God comes at, so much of the time with his judgment on people. When God's judging the world and judging people of the world, there's an accountability with us and what we're doing, not only in our lives day to day, but how we have treated the world, the planet, the earth, everything. Everything's into account with the Creator. Yeah, it's not just our kind of, what I did today in my home kind of thing, but it's the big picture as well, that I am accountable with God. And that's interesting. But we see this, we've already seen it, where God will spew someone out of the land. Why? Because the land is being treated horribly. Interesting, right? You don't treat the land right. And man, there's an accountability with the Creator concerning it. Man, that sounds pretty cool. Where God is, man, he's the righteous Greenpeacer, I guess. He's the one who's righteous. He does the right thing when it comes to tree hugging, that kind of thing. His philosophy's right on. His truth's right on. We try, and we try our Greenpeace version, but we tend to get off. And we instead of worshiping the Creator, we've worshipped the what? Creation. And that's where we've got off, right? But there's some truth there. Everything's going to be stoked, right? The trees are going to sing, man. It's awesome. Since, what you've done, Babylon, is you've just cut them all down. You've built, right? And that's what you've done. Now you're in the place of the dead, you king, and everybody sees you just as they are. It's like you're in hell and you're just with everybody else in hell, And I guess in hell you don't got too much of a pecking order anymore. You're not the king anymore. Now in verse 12 it says, "How you are fallen from heaven, O shining star, son of the morning." Whoa, that's an interesting kind of title there, right? "Oh, how you have fallen, O shining star, son of the morning. You have been thrown down to the earth, you who destroyed the nations of the world." Interesting. So now we get this, falling star idea, and someone who has destroyed the nations. But he has been thrown down to the earth. What? That sounds really weird. I mean, isn't the king of Babylon on the earth? How does he get thrown to the earth, Well, this sounds a lot like a passage in the book of Revelation as well, where someone gets thrown to the earth. Now, me being an Iron Maiden guy, remember Iron Maiden's Number of the Beast album, right? And it quotes a passage in the Bible, right? For the devil has come down to you, right, to the earth. And it says he knows his time is short, right? He who has understanding reckon the number of the beast, for it's the number of man. Its number is 666. Someone gets tossed to the earth, a destroyer. Wow. Now we start seeing, again, through Isaiah, man, are we talking about the devil? It says, for you said to yourself, I will ascend to heaven and set my throne above God's stars. Got a little prideful, right? Am I prideful like this? Oh, I'm better than God. How many human beings think they got it all together and they know more than God? Wow. Unbelievable to hear people, especially people in the science community, talk like they got it together. Like God is nothing compared to them. And you just think of how tiny your brain is, and you think you got it over on everything because you got a little knowledge. It's really sad, you know. I think all these professors and all of us human beings and people, we need just a little bit of humility, right? But we say, I will ascend to heaven and set my throne above the stars. I will preside on the mountain of the gods, far away from the north. I will climb the highest heavens and be like the Most High. Instead, you will be brought down to the place of the dead, down to the lowest depths. Everyone there will stare at you and ask, can this be the one who shook the earth and made the kingdoms of the world tremble? Is this the one who destroyed the world and made it into a wasteland? Is this the king who demolished the world cities and had no mercy on his prisoners? The kings of the nation lie in stately glory, each in his own tomb. But you will be thrown out of your grave like a worthless branch, like a corpse trampled underfoot. You will be dumped into the mass grave with those who are killed in battle. It says you will descend to the pit. Interesting, right? It talks about this prideful pomp of thinking you're above God, and talking about how you presided on the mountain of the gods far away from the north. I mean, it just, this idea of just, it sounds again like we're talking about something even beyond just the king of Babylon in what, 12, 13, 14. And then it kicks back into talking about this idea that when the king of Babylon dies, you're just going to go to the grave like everybody else. No one's even going to go to visit your at your cemetery, your tomb. It's going to be unmarked. So it's interesting how the prophet hones in on a subject and then goes beyond it and then comes back to it. And we see this over and over in this literature called the prophets in the Bible. Very cool, right? So we see the devil being talked about, this person, Satan, as you know, who sets himself above God, this prideful, thinking he's the best. And then there's a humbling that takes place, a kicking out of, and then it kicks back into this idea of Babylon. And verse 22 says, this is what the Lord of heaven's armies says. I myself have risen against Babylon. I will destroy its children and its children's children, says the Lord. I will make Babylon a desolate place of owls, filled with swamps and marshes. I will sweep the land with the broom of destruction. I, the Lord of heaven's armies, have spoken. He's going to take care of it. He's going to sweep the land of all of its junk, of all of its destruction. And so then it gets into, the Lord of heaven's armies has sworn this oath. It will all happen as I have planned. It will be as I have decided. I will break the Assyrians. So now he gets into the Assyrians. And they, when they are in Israel, I will trample them on my mountain. My people will no longer be their slaves, nor bow down under their heavy loads. I have a plan for the whole earth, a hand of judgment upon all the nations. The Lord of heaven's armies has spoken. Who could change his plans? When his hand is raised, who can stop him? Hey, who could stop God? Maybe today I just got to stop trying to control, and I just got to let go. It's tough to let go, man. A lot of fear, a lot of insecurity, right? And so we try to control everything. What are you trying to control today? What are you trying to, maybe you need some humility. Maybe I need some humility right today, and to walk humbly, not try to control and force and coerce, right? But, here we see that God's going to do what God's going to do, and it says it's going to happen. He's decided. So a message about Philistia. The message came in the year King Ahaz died. Do not rejoice, you Philistines, that the rod that struck you is broken, that the king who attacked you is dead. For from the snake a more poisonous snake will be born, a fiery serpent to destroy you. I will feed you feed the poor in my pasture. The needy will lie down in peace. Oh, that's cool. God will take care of those that were really in need. But as for you, I will wipe you out with famine and destroy a few who remains. Wail at the gates, weep at the cities, melt with fear, you Philistines. A powerful army comes like smoke from the north. Each soldier rushes forward, eager to fight. What should we tell the Philistine messengers? Tell them the Lord has built Jerusalem. Its walls will give refuge to his oppressed people. So these are messages that God's giving through the prophet to the various enemies of Israel. We see Babylon. We see it catapults us even into Satan, right? An enemy who is cast out, comes to the earth, creates problems. The destroyer, Assyria, the Philistines. And that God has a plan and he has a purpose. And he loves the land. He wants to free the land of oppression and vile behavior, right? Ill behavior and the wickedness of the way things have been done. And this is what's going to happen in a big picture, obviously in the book of Revelation. This is kind of what we're getting. But it's a good thing for us just to remember that, again, God is not, you don't want to trifle with the deity. You don't want to just be like, oh, there's no God. Da, 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 da. No, all of our time is coming. Blaise Pascal is so right. Death is eternal no matter what state it's in. All of our time is coming. And we're going to have to deal with that. And sometimes we can deal with that stubbornly, or we can learn to deal with it humbly. And the beautiful thing is, God shows us in this chapter that he has made a way for us to be right with him, to walk humbly with him. But instead, sometimes we've leaned on other things, just as Israel's leaned on the Assyrians or leaned on other people, Egypt and this kind of thing for help. We see that even those that we think are strong, Assyria, Philistines, Babylon, aren't really going to be there for us. We're going to need God. So it's a cool one. Today we need God. Today we need to trust God. Today we need to bring our fear. He'll take care of our sorrow when we rest in him, right? When we trust him. And so learning how to rest in God, that was what I got too from this chapter. And is that, there's a wonderful day that's coming. Verse 3 is, I think, just epic, right? That he will give rest from sorrow and fear, from slavery and chains. God, what a hopeful passage that is. And this is what the Messiah is going to come to do. Is Jesus, the Messiah, will come and do this. He will free us from our chains. From what? The chain of being us. So, the chain of being, sinful human beings that are in bondage in so many ways. And he will give us a new life. And through his Spirit. So this kind of idea. So very cool. A lot of cool implications in chapter 14. And again, we see here one of the main passages that deals with Satan in the Bible. So it's a big one. Isaiah 14. Okay. Hey, friends, this is good having you. And Michael, glad you're in the house, brother. Tina, good to have you too. And thank you so much for all the help yesterday. Man, that was awesome. What a time yesterday. So, Taylin, what's going on, brother? You guys have a great day, okay? And we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.